People talk about their sun signs, and this is something that we all know. You can ask anyone what their sun sign is, perhaps even your grandparents, and they would know the answer to that. People, however, do get mixed up with the moon placement, which is a very critical part in our horoscopes. The commonly thing which is known about moon is that they govern emotions, but that is not there is all to the moon. The moon just sets parameters for potentials and inspirations. It does not define the emotions in itself. Astrology is far more complex, and not to get caught with just what is there on the surface of it. Moon is an ever changing energy. Within each sign of the moon, there are about 40-50 ways of emoting. I'll talk of the subtleties as to how it is besides the emotion and intuition that moon affects in each zodiac sign. Hi, I'm Anisha. Welcome to my channel on astrology, tarot, and zodiac tips. I'm going to be running through all the zodiac signs, and we're going to be looking as to how it is that moon affects us. Moon, in fact, makes up our not just behavior, our in-depth consciousness, our characteristic, and also it defines really who we are. Start with moon in Aries. Moon in Aries is almost aloof. It avoids situations that can get emotionally messy. They run away from any kind of an emotional mess that they may sense. It's not that they're emotionally not developed. In fact, they're very astute. They're very quite intuitive as far as emotions are concerned. They can also absorb and understand other people's emotions quite quickly. So rather than, I would say in a way they foresee as to how messy the situation can be. So Moon and Aries will choose to walk away. They will not choose to get into one big messy emotional situation. Their way of dealing with it is walking away from it. This also speaks about childhood abandonment issues. It is most likely that the Aries moon child was abandoned when he was a child. It can be that either one of the parents, either they didn't take care of the Aries moon as a child, or one of the parents walked out of the marriage, and hence the Aries moon was left with only one parent to parent himself. This is a very parenting energy. Moon is all about parenting. So the Aries moon can, in fact, somehow, sometimes in a relationship, in fact, run away too quickly. They can give up on the relationship very quickly. They may sense that they are going to get abandoned, which may not be true always. So rather than face that abandonment themselves, they would sort of bring it forth themselves, and they would be the first to run away and get away from the emotions. Aries moon also needs to voice their emotions. If they are not able to voice their emotions, they are, they can be very upset. In fact, what is most very commonly known about Aries moon is that they have temper issues, they're temperamental, but this is not completely true. It's because that they can't say what is it that they're really going through, they can't voice. And Aries, having that fire disposition, the pioneer of the zodiac, finds it very hard to suppress or repress their emotions. So if for whatever reason, if they are not able to share what is it that is going on with them, they can have health issues. If they are, especially if they can't talk about what's happening with them, they can be plagued with headaches, they can be migraines, a lot of I would say even issues with eyes, which can be blinding headaches. They need a release, they need to be able to speak. Working out is fantastic for the Aries moon. They can be, in fact, this is one way in which their energy, the excess energy, can be channelized. Unless and until there is a water sign that is there in the chart for you, and you are not just solely, if it's not just Aries moon that is there, it is most likely that you will be quite the avoidant. You wouldn't want to look at emotions or maybe relationships which have a lot of intensities. Again, it is almost a contradiction. It is not that you don't want the intensity of a relationship, or you don't want that passion that is there, but you want it without the messiness of the emotions. So the healthy way of understanding emotions for them is really, if they can't speak to the partner, or if it's a parent child situation, then at times therapy works wonders for them, because that outlet to be able to speak, to be able to voice out their truth is very, very important to the Aries moon. Also, they're generally very good looking people, I would say, pretty people. Aries moon are normally, they have good constitution, they have great skin, they have a good body structure, they are quite active, not really prone to so many I would say health issues like maybe a Scorpio moon would be, but they normally have a strong constitution, so they can deal with a lot. However, like I said before, that the need to speak and voice out their truth or be able to communicate what it is that they are going through, or whether it is anger or I would say more than anger, though eventually it does manifest into anger if they're not able to share. But if they're not able to let the other person know what they are feeling or not able to share the emotions, then is a time when the Aries child or the Aries fire or the tempers can, come out. That's a time that the lashing out really comes out. Otherwise, I think it's quite a sweet moon. We next have the moon in Taurus, and I think this is one of the, not just the luckiest, I think it's one of the most beautiful moons out of all the moons that are there in the zodiac. It's very even tempered. They're generally born very lucky. They're born into a lot of wealth normally, or even if they're not born into a lot of wealth, they manage to marry well, they manage to get good jobs, they manage to turn a very difficult situation around quite quickly. They also have wonderful children. They will normally have more than one child, and they also have great relationships with their children. So moon in Taurus is balanced. And also this is where moon is exalted. It's at its I would say at its happiest. It's very, while it's comfortable in or at home in Cancer, in Taurus it tends to be very expansive, very happy, very comfortable, very nurtured. So the Taurus moon, besides having a wonderful relationship or a deep connect with their children, also tend to get either pregnant very quickly. They're extremely fertile, both the men and the women. So you need to be careful over there. But also they are great providers. They're great homemakers. They'll always have a beautiful home. They'll always be a good table over there. There'll never be shortage of food. They'll be happy cooking for their families. They'll be happy taking care of everyone around them. They love good things. The only thing, or rather one of the important things with the Taurus moon is the having problems with the throat. They rule the throat chakra, and that is when they're not able to voice out, or when they're not able to speak up, or what it is that they want to say, or what it is that they have to share. There can be some neck problems with them. A moon in Taurus, a lot of times you'll find people with them, they have major neck issues. So maybe doing some yoga, some exercises for the neck will be greatly beneficial for them. And also they do tend to get inheritances. They are they're generally good with money. They generally have money with them. Even if they have been born into a house where there's not been a lot of money, they will still manage to secure a home for themselves, have a nice, comfortable house. In fact, I would say in the later years, they do quite well. They come into a lot of money in their later years. So can take care of all their comforts, their luxuries, and great food. And this is something also which can make them prone to putting on weight. If you were to look at the sign of the bull, and especially if they are threatened, if they are in an insecure environment, you will find the Taurus moon to be quite overweight or quite heavyweight. This also symbolizes the bull, that you have that much of weight behind you, so you feel more secure. It's almost like having a plan B, that if I'm attacked, I know that I can push. But that is something to be thinking about deeply, as to about why it is that the weight tends to stay on with an Taurian moon. What is it in your environment that is making you insecure? What is it that is not making you feel safe or making you feel emotionally deprived, that makes you maybe want to eat more or maybe want to binge more and not shed that weight? We next have Moon in Gemini, and here the moon is mutable. It's quite chatty. It's neutral. It's neither really excited or happy or very comfortable, but it's mercurial over here. So the moon in Gemini also can have a lot of experiences, especially while growing up, that either there are issues with siblings. They can be that that either you were troubled a lot by a sibling, uh, while you were growing up, and your parents ignored it, and it was something more than just a normal trouble. It was not just normal teasing. It could border on almost harassment. And this is something that you grow up with, and if you don't learn to work through these emotions, you can almost live with a sort of bitterness inside you, and you don't let go of it. And the moon in Gemini may talk about it often as well to their closest friends. They may speak about how the sibling had been. That said, it does not mean that they hate the siblings. They will still have a almost while of course the relationship will be it will be a close relationship, it will, in a strange way, they will still listen to that sibling, despite whatever that may have happened in the childhood. It's almost like a sun saturn bond that you can't break it. You can't you can't talk about it. And I think that is what would really frustrate the moon in Gemini as well, because they want to talk, they want to discuss, they want to know the hows and the whys. But this episode, which happens with them in early childhood, is something that also tends to, again, if they have not worked through it, if they have not let go of it, then this can affect a lot of their further relationships that they have. They can also be very indecisive. It's a very indecisive moon, and because there's so much that's happening in their head, they are in and out. There's like one minute they're thinking of this, another minute they're thinking of that. There's like a constant back and forth, and it can almost create like a intense chaos in their minds. They can hence be prone to alcohol. They can also be prone to drugs that could be calming to the mind, almost to a sense of, I won't say numbing, but which sort of calms them down. They can be prone to um, drinking binges. They'll go through this phase. In fact, not phase. I know of some moon uh, in Gemini who just love their drink, and they need to be having. It's not a want which you're drinking, that you're having a drink socially, but they need their drinks every evening. And I'm saying drinks, not drink. They also are very, since they are so flighty, they're very hard to pin down. So they can have multiple marriages, they can have multiple relationships because they just can't decide. They can have a lot of stepchildren as well. They can almost be aloof emotionally, though not like Aquarius moon. That's like borders a bit on eccentric, but the Gemini moon is almost, I would say, even cunning. That there's a sense of duplicity about it. They'll say something one minute that, oh, I'm so serious about this, and then again after a few days they'll change their mind, which in one way is a good thing, that they won't be in a toxic relationship for a long time. They do not stay in bad marriages for a long time, unless again you have another water sign somewhere sitting, or even I would say an earth sign sitting somewhere in your chart, which would indicate otherwise. They are quite argumentative. In fact, Moon in Gemini, they make great lawyers. They are a little bit like the Libra moon as well, but they make wonderful friends. I would say more than romantic partners, they're great people to hang out with, have fun. The only thing that they need to be watching out for is the impulsive spending. They can go crazy spending, while the Taurus moon loves its luxury and money and spending as well. The Gemini moon can have bit of an issue, like they will be shopping and they'll be hiding that shopping, somewhere in the house, and pulling it out and saying, no, I've had this for the longest, you don't remember. So all of that is quite common with a Gemini moon. The Gemini moon, I would suggest they work quite well with water moons, because the watery energy will tend to show them the depth. They will introduce them, encourage them to look at the emotions more deeply and not just to experience things superficially. Now we have next is the Cancer moon. That is a house of moon in itself. It governs our mothers, and the moon loves being over here. It's at home. It's beautiful. It's in its own true form, but it's also slightly a sad moon, because um, the Cancer moon children always, normally, I would say 90% of the time, have very tough childhoods. It can be that either, and especially the first 30 years of their life, it's quite hard for them. Either they lose one of the parents. In fact, most of the orphanages, they are ruled by Cancer. It can be that even if both the parents were present, that they were abandoned, that they were treated as if they are not there, so they had to literally parent themselves, they had to bring themselves up. And it's not an easy start, but it gets easier for them in the latter part of their life. And also because karmically they understand this karmic pattern of parenting very deeply. They understand through their own experiences of how they have been treated while they were children, while they were that young and they didn't have a parent looking out for them. So they act as wonderful parents. They come back and they rectify the horrors of being orphaned, or being having to take care of yourself. And I think this is also a very beautiful way to heal your karma. In fact, any client that I have with a Cancer moon, that I'm speaking with, and they are not married and they're above 30, I always encourage them that, should the opportunity arise, should get married, not shy away from it, and should have children, because that is, in a way, you complete the cycle, you complete your karmic cycle of something which is a very big emotional wound inside you, which doesn't get healed, because you are constantly looking for that nurturance, you're looking to be loved, you're looking for that appreciation, that validation your entire life, which was not given to you when you were very young. Unfortunately, the Cancer moon also tends to feel quite lonely if they're not in a good relationship, despite even being, if the relationship it's a challenged one, and if it's with with a certain horoscope or a sign which is absolutely, say with a Capricorn moon, if it is there, then it can be quite okay, let me say disastrous. It can be quite disastrous, it can be quite painful. So, and it'll be that much more to break away from it, because the Cancer moon is the parent moon. They were often when they were young, so it's very hard for them to break the even toxic relationships, even toxic partnerships. And also the body breaks very easily. A lot of this emotional stress shows a lot on their body. So if they are going through a lot of emotional time, if there's a lot of crying and whatever, if there is something that's going through, they should literally, because their environment affects them so much, they should literally maybe go to the Thar desert, they should maybe go to Rajasthan, they should maybe go to some dry place, which will do wonders. It's literally, I know it sounds absurd, but it's amazing how that works. And similarly, if the Cancer moon is in a place where they're feeling quite detached, they're feeling quite emotionless, then going for a holiday or spending time near the ocean, near the sea, maybe just going near the water will just soothe you, it'll connect you more. So that is something really amazing for them. Their environment, the altitudes, the geography really affects the home environment, really affects the Cancer moon. Also, another wonderful thing about this Cancer moon is that they manifest things very easily, because This is the house of Cancer. So anything that you want, it multiplies very quickly. There's happiness, and then you'll find, oh, more happy situations, or more wonderful people come into your life. If you're in a space where you are really bitter, or you're very cynical and you can't let go of whatever that may have happened to you, then that is something that can multiply for you as well. You could be drawing out people, situations, energies around you which are really negative. So I would encourage the Cancerian moon to try and look more at the positives, try and lift yourself up more, be around people, be around an environment which is positive, which is adding more value to you. And the next we have is the Leo moon, which is also known as the baby moon. Now, Leo moon people are, they're very popular. The people love to invite them, they love to entertain, they themselves like to go out, and they are normally the most sought out company by friends, by relatives, by family. Everyone adores them. And even though they'll, often shy away from saying that, no, no, I wasn't so popular in school, I wasn't so popular in college. But the fact is that they're normally very popular people, and there is something which is really almost magnetic about the Leo moon. Now the baby moon stems from the place that they cannot deny themselves anything. They like something and they go after it. They make the best politicians, also because they can appeal to anybody. They have this wonderful quality, persuasive quality, when people find it very hard to say no to them. So wonderful politicians, wonderful salespeople. You'll find, in fact, if you were to sit and look at a lot of politicians globally, or even I would say very, very successful salespeople, that they have a Leo moon in them. The problem to this Leo moon is that they like anything. If they see something shiny, they'll run after it like a child. They want it. They see something nice to eat, something sweet to eat, something that they really love, they want to have it now and then. So there is no delayed gratification with the Leo moon. There is also no middle ground for them. And that is where the karmic lesson for the Leo moon is, to find a middle ground, not to swing towards extremes. If it is love, then it has to be really wonderful and deep and everything about it. And if not, then they can quickly just get out of that relationship as well. The Leo moon also has the most swiftest of the karmic debt that is there. So the moment they'll quickly leave a relationship and they'll find themselves in a similar relationship. It can be with another person, but it'll have a similar connotations of maybe that person leaves them now. So it'll be a very quick karmic debt gets repaid with this specific moon. Also, they can have a tunnel vision. They once they get interested or obsessed with something, then it's very hard for them to look at the macro picture. Then it is just, they are just looking at that specific perspective, and it's very hard to move their mind. They normally have great health. They do not suffer from any nervous issues per se, though they can get they may suffer from narcissism, or it can be that they may attract a lot of narcissistic people to them. It can also be that they may attract a lot of high maintenance people to them as well, because the Leo moon is this wonderful child that wants to play, is popular, wants to have fun. He knows how to get his or her way, and that is a very attractive quality for a narcissistic. They want to be around people who are popular. Almost, and also I would say sociopaths, that they would get attracted to a personality like this. But also the thing is that they can be issues with loyalty. It'll be hard for them to stick to one relationship for a long time. It's not that they don't want to, it's just that they find someone else attractive very quickly and they want to jump into that relationship with the same quickness. Also, they are often found in relationships in which after a very wonderful and rosy start to the relationship, there's constant bickering, there's constant on and on and on fighting is there. And also they have this very high they have a very high emotional energy as well, even though they're not like they're quite fiery in disposition. They're not really, they don't like to get into the depths of the emotions, even though they love the intensity around it. So it can be that their partners may feel that they're being quite, they're not being truthful, they're not being authentic, which is not really true, because the Leo moon, the baby moon, tends to get attracted with anything new, anything fun, and they may come back to you, depending as to what's really going on in that relationship, until and unless you really have a earth energy somewhere in your chart. It'll be very hard to pin down on this, to this Leo moon. Also, they must work out regularly to channelize this energy. It's very important that they channelize this energy of staying calm, staying at a that stillness that is required. Again, if you have either a water, or if you have a earth somewhere in your chart, then it could be that it balances you out. But just with the pure Leo energy, it could be, um, it would make you want to jump into things very impulsively, and to it's like off to a new adventure, exploring more new things, and getting bored very easily with, okay, you've been in this relationship, great, there may not be anything wrong with the relationship, but they'll jump out and they'll move to another relationship. And like I said, the karmic circle with this specific Leo moon is very swift. It could be that person leaves you because of whatever, because you have that pattern that you're carrying forth. So working out is wonderful for them, and they can control and they can channelize this energy, and they can build their own emotional growth. The next we have is the Virgo moon. I really like the Virgo moon. They're very organized emotionally. They never cause anyone any trouble. They're almost like most apologetic, even about feeling bad for their own emotions. It's a very beautiful, a very careful moon, I would say. I think Virgo moon and Pisces moon, it's a lot of prophets, a lot of saints, a lot of people who are enlightened, gurus. They tend to have a Virgo and even a Pisces moon, and only thing with them is because the Virgo moon rules health. They can get little obsessive about their health. They could be constantly be monitoring their weight, what is it they're eating, what supplements they're eating, they could be measuring their food. This can also be that while growing up, they either saw death very closely in the family, or they lost someone very dear to them. So it's almost like having a relationship with a very morbid relationship with mortality. They understand that they need to be taking care of their health. So you'll find the Virgo moon quite obsessed with workouts, with energy drinks, and trying out new smoothies. And they'll be giving you all the lectures on how oats are wonderful and vegan food is a must, and how you should be eating really healthy. It can, however, it can border on being obsessive, because they do tend to go a bit overboard. They do tend to start worrying a lot about it. They can actually worry themselves sick. And the only worry, or I would say the concern over here is also that at times their diagnosis, if there is something that's going on with their body, it'll very rarely it'll have to do with something which is like a very pronounced ailment, and it could almost be a misdiagnosis for a Virgo, which they'll spend their lifetime trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And it may possibly have a lot to do with the emotions that they're ingesting, and hence the reaction, the chemicals further in the body that they're causing that discomfort, which doesn't get captured in any x-rays and doesn't come out in any blood report. So they can spend a lifetime, in fact time at times, trying to unearth as to what is it that's really going on with them. Also, don't handle criticism very well. There is very less to criticize in a Virgo moon, but still they do not like to be criticized. And also because they are partially ruled by the by Mercury, they'll swiftly go back and they'll correct it as well. But criticism is something that they just do not like. They don't take it very, they take it very hard. They're I think for a Virgo moon, they need to be very careful about not what they're eating, but when they're eating, their emotional state, or when they're consuming the food. It's very important for them to see what phase of life they are in, what is it that they're going through, what is it that's really happening around them, how it is that their body reacts to certain situations, circumstances. And I'm not saying foods over here, I'm just talking about the body's chemical imbalances. They're our body reacts to stress in very different ways, and which has, and during that time, if we are ingesting anything, that can get wrapped up with the chemicals or the toxins that are being released in our body, and they can even turn into poison. We don't know as to how stress, or how trauma, or how being in a space where we are not happy and we're absorbing that, and then we're eating. We may have people around you saying that you have everything is going on fine with you, you have great food, a great place, but emotionally, if you're not happy, then you could just be ingesting that along with the food that you're eating, and that could just be putting you in a state of dizzy. So for the Virgo and Moon also have a slightly there's a slight tension over there, because Virgo likes everything to be organized. They do not like this. And Moon is changing. The energy constantly changes every month. It's in this house, that house, and Virgo doesn't like it. Virgo wants things to be very planned and organized. So there's a slight, even though earth and water, they get along, there's a kind of a symbiotic relationship over here, but still there's a slight tension with this constant movement, which Virgo does not appreciate. The next we have a lovely Libra moon, and Libra moon is overall, it's optimistic, but sometimes it tends to also run into financial problems. It may have a tendency to borrow money, and they are quite concerned with the with maintaining themselves. Libra moon, it's not that they are vain, it's not that they're greedy, but it's just that they feel comforted if they're wearing nice clothes. It's like the Taurus moon. The Taurus moon wants real jewelry. It wants a proper solid house. Libra moon wants these comforts to feel better. They I think to a certain extent, the Libra moon suffers from a self persecution complex, that they tend to sort of feel that everyone hates me and I need to be doing something really wonderful in life so that I will be loved. There's a lot of karmic energy of the Libra moon around self love, around self acceptance, and I think this is something that the Libra moon struggles throughout. And again, with them, it is that the Libra moon as a child is usually till the time that they're 30. The acceptance that if it is not given to that Libra child, or normally it is not, then they grow up with this feeling of insecurity, of having to prove themselves, or having to create a space for themselves so that others view them. They look at themselves through others' eyes a lot. But for them, I would say there's also a blessing over there, that they do tend to come out of tough situations also fairly smoothly. So if they're in a bad relationship, it'll be that one of the persons, gets a visa, or a job out of the country, and you don't even have the passport. So automatically there's a distance that gets created, and the relationship, hence it, falls through. And they have a very strong connection to karma. It would almost be that at times they feel they don't have control over their own lives. They don't have control over what's really going on, control over their jobs, about money. And they are quite a bit of financial money problems with this Libra moon. They could feel um, there's almost a sense of desperation of trying to do well. It's as if that they keep raising the bar for themselves. It's not that anyone is demanding it from them, but the Libra moon tends to um, needs that validation desperately. In fact, a Libra moon single is quite miserable. And but even if in a relationship, if they don't get that validation, then it's worse. Then the temper will come out, then the lashing out will come out, and they worry a lot about how they're looking, if they're not getting enough compliments, or they're not getting enough marriage proposals, or not, they're not being asked out enough, or how many people are dating them, or how many people have told them that they like them. So it's very important for them to it's very important for them to self prioritize. The Libra moon needs to focus on themselves, it needs to take care of themselves, it needs to be the parent themselves. And I think that's the most beautiful karmic lesson for Libra moon, is that they need to stop caring about whatever else uh, everyone around them is saying or doing, or wanting that validation. They just need to be focusing on themselves and on their own emotional growth. And that is a time that, the moment they just switch off all the buttons around them, is a time that they will be able to breathe easy, whether they're single or they're with a partner. And now we have the Scorpio moon, and Scorpio moon is quite talked about. For those of you who follow astrology, it's you'll find people saying, yeah, but everything is fine as long as I don't have or he or she doesn't have a Scorpio moon. And it's I would say one of has a really bad reputation. Poor thing. It's and I would say unjustly so. It's not that it doesn't have enough on its plate to be getting a bad reputation also. So Scorpio moon rarely comes up to catch breath. They live so much in the emotions, they absorb emotions so much, they can literally kill themselves with their own feelings, with their emotions. They feel so deeply, they go through the entire process of intensity of emotion so deeply that it can they literally exhaust, and they can literally destroy their own bodies with it. They struggle to speak, they struggle to voice out their emotions, almost like the Taurian moon. They find it very hard to express their emotions, and they feel that everybody misunderstands them. Even if they manage to voice their emotions, they feel that they're being misread, that people are not understanding them, and it really frustrates them. And the Scorpio moon comes across often as a very meek, reserved, somebody who is um, quite in control of their emotions, at times even has have a lot of humor, is quite level headed. But that's not true. It's They are rarely, seldom what they are on the surface. Underneath the Scorpio moon is this volatile, I won't say temper, but I'll say emotions. They're just the emotions that have not been dealt with. And also at times you'll find people who are with the Scorpio moon very flamboyant as well. So they'll be extremes. You'll find others really reserved, very quiet, and very level headed. Or you'll find really people with the Scorpio moon being flamboyant, and they are really gregarious and very jovial, great sense of humor as well. And the thing with this moon is that it's almost self-sabotaging energy, is that they put themselves in situations where it's like a phoenix complex. You destroy yourself, you build yourself from the ashes, and again you destroy yourself. So this is almost a cyclic thing that happens with the Scorpio moon, and it's almost that they're addicted to this cycle, that they enjoy going through this process of. And you'll find this in some very addictive, volatile relationships as well, where people get in together, it's very hard to break up, and they'll be together, and it's intense, it's bickering, it's fighting, then it's intense love making, it's very great chemistry, everything is really intense. And then there'll be something will happen, and they'll split apart, and there'll be a big breakup, and then again they'll get back, and then again they'll start. They can just somehow uh, you know um, can't break, or can't break up rather. So this is a very Scorpio moon energy, a very Scorpio moon characteristic, wherein that they enjoy, almost it's a very sadistic kind of a pleasure to go through that experience of um, building themselves up and then destroying themselves, and then I think this also because there's so much of insatiability of wanting to, it's like that karmic cycle that you are almost compelled to go through that process of reincarnation, of building yourself. So these people, either they are hated or they're loved, or they'll go through these phases in their life where they'll look back and they'll say, oh, during that I remember when I was with those friends or when I was working there, how much they used to love me. Then they'll find themselves in another organization. You'll say, oh God, it was such a horrible time. Everybody hated me. I don't know why. So can also have body issues because Scorpio also governs testosterone, estrogen, and when they are not functioning properly, they can create havoc in the body. So you can have either a lot of bad acne, you can have PCOD, you can have really painful periods in women. And in fact, I think it's very rare. I've yet to come across a Scorpio moon woman who does not suffer either from PCOD or does not have really painful menstrual cycles. And with them also, with the Scorpio men also, they tend to be really emotional. I wonder if they could be PMSing as well. But it tends to make both the genders really, really emotionally hyper as well. Now, in relationships with Scorpio moon, the other person could feel quite overwhelmed, because they'll feel, oh, I got into a relationship with this person who seemed very funny, very charming, really magnetic and sexy and great sense of humor. And he's turned out to be almost like a psycho. So it'll be very hard to break relationships with the Scorpio moon as well, because the Scorpio moon also, it's a deep uh, parental cycle as well, and they are not willing to let go unless until they're not interested, then they'll just walk away. But it's a very powerful energy to deal with. So and especially I would say till the time that they're 30, they go through a very tough childhood. They go through quite painful and tough experiences, so it can be almost, I would say, bordering on abuse, whether it's verbal abuse, it's sexual abuse. And especially if there's a Mars and or a Pluto somewhere in the chart along with this, then it does indicate this, that there's been violence, experiences with them while they were growing up. And post 30 is a time where there's they tend to breathe easy a bit, but till 40 it's quite painful for the Scorpio moon. So I feel that you should in any case give them little leeway. They've had such a rough deal, and I'm not making excuses for them, but it's such a tough time that they have while growing up in the first 30 years, that it's for them, hence toxic relationships pale in comparison. They feel, I've been through so much of nonsense, so much of pain. What is this? I'll live through this because I've already seen the worst. But the the moon of Scorpio, and I think I am talking a lot about moon in Scorpio because not just being debilitated, it is also a very one of the most complex and misunderstood aspects in astrology, what people really write about. So I am actually looking at the other side, or at the subtler aspect of the Scorpio moon as well, that they are I think, besides not just that treating them with kid gloves, but if the Scorpio moon, say, has a energy of a Sagittarius energy, people who can just teach them to take it easy, not to take everything personally, not to, because experiences have been so deep since the time that they've been also been in an accident themselves, or they've seen quite a bit till the time that they're 30. It's very rare that Scorpio moon child till the time, or people till the time that they're 30, have not experienced some trauma in their life. So it can be that if they are around the Sagittarius energy, or I would say even a Leo energy, that they can be more easy on themselves. They need to be reaching a point where they don't worry about what is it that people think of them. They finally, I think, with the constant phoenix cycle, they themselves reach a point where they, feel that I'll do what I have to do and I don't really care what people think of me or what people want out of me. And they need to be careful about not being obsessed about a specific thing, whether it's a relationship or whether it is work. So they need to be remembering it's a 9 to 5 job, leave your work and come, and not to get really consumed by it. And I think that is where the sort of the message for them, or the healing for them lies, is to be easy with themselves and their own bodies, because they can literally kill themselves just by their own energy, which does not get channelized. So they really have to um, practice letting go. They really, the experiences that they've had, they just have to, after a while, just let it slide. And I think that is what the Scorpio moon should just say: let it pass. It doesn't matter. The good side, of course, it's not that it's all sad and bad about. Actually, then none of the moons, are really bad, because they move also. The moon, like I said, there are 40, 50 ways of emoting, and also eventually it depends on us. It's no excuse that, because if you have a Scorpio moon, you can't keep saying, oh, I am this way because I have a Scorpio moon. In fact, these are more opportunities for you to have a soul growth, to deepen your growth. And because the way the Scorpio moon experiences life, no other zodiac does. So it's a great lifetime. And like I said, post 30 it gets okay. It's a lifetime of learning. It's a lifetime of being inspiring, of being motivating for others through your own experiences. The next we have is a Sagittarius moon. I really like this moon as well. It's a fun moon. It supports the body. It repairs very quickly. It's quite a happy-go-lucky moon. Not interested really in emotions. In fact, it does wonderfully. It will do wonderfully well for the Scorpio moon. It will just teach them that, it's okay to be, if someone is making fun of you, so what? You don't have to feel humiliated. In fact, Sagittarians are quite happy at laughing. The Sagittarius moon, sorry, is quite happy at laughing at themselves. They learn embarrassment quite early on in childhood. Maybe they had experiences over, something that they were either mocked as a child or something. They were put in situations which were embarrassing, and they learned that, I just need to brush myself and I just need to get going. So what? Because people will talk. Eventually, everyone is going to be sitting and talking. I just need to be going on and doing my own thing. In fact, for Sagittarius moon, every time that they are in a flux, or they are in a space where they feel that they're stuck, they're emotionally stagnant, I always advise them to please go for an adventure. Just go out and travel, go to different countries, go to the rainforest, go to the Amazons, just hike, travel, just broaden, expand out your heart and your mind more. There's nothing like that that suits the Sagittarius moon. However, they are often accused of being very superficial and artificial as well, because they don't handle emotions very well. They don't handle bereavement and grieving very well. So if you have a Sagittarius spouse or friend, if you're sitting and crying near them, they'll just tell you, come, let's go for a party. Let's go and grab an ice cream. And you'll be like, I'm sitting and crying. Like, so it's not that they don't feel with the same intensity or the depth of maybe the water signs do, but they do not know how to process the emotions very well. So and also the Sagittarius moon has learned early on that nothing much, good comes out of sitting and holding on to pain for a longer time. I think it's a very blessed moon in this way, that it has learned its lessons far more earlier in life. It has seen from the rest of the zodiacs the lessons that came down to it, and said that, okay, I get this. I don't want to be in that space where I'm lonely, where I'm waiting for others' validation. I will create this for myself. I will seek my own happiness. The thing with Sagittarius moon is that they burn out very quickly, and they're not very good with 9 to 5 jobs as well. They can't be in a place where you think that you'll have a Sagittarius friend, spouse, whoever it is that you may know. I can bet if they've been in the same job for the last 30 years or even 25 years, they like to do a variety of things. They like to do multiple projects. They are quite creative. And the only thing is that they need to learn how to conserve and utilize their energy very well, because they burn it off very quickly. Their bodies also break down very quickly, especially um, their heart, I would say. It's like consuming a lot of food and then going out and working out. They're also adrenal junkies, so you will find Sagittarian moons going for maybe those crazy roundabout, those huge roundabout rides that are there, or skydiving or bungee jumping. They are big ones for exploring new places, new cuisines. They are quite fearless, and they're quite fun. So people are quite also generally attracted to this energy. And if they do come across a painful time or a phase or situation in their life, they tend to philosophize about it, and they tend to move on. However, they will benefit from the water moons as well. And that is your Scorpio moon, especially even the Pisces moon, because they will help them see the depths in their life. They will get them more connected with what is really there under, the deeper emotion, the energies that we all have, and how best to connect with ourselves. Because at times the Sagittarius moon can literally be not grounded at all. They can just be in another space, and which maybe almost like an out of body experience, which an Aquarius moon tends to have. But Sagittarius moon also needs to be grounded more often. So meditation is wonderful for them, yoga is great for them, being in touch and trying to be more authentic is also wonderful them. And hence having such partners which have a water, or unless you yourself have some water element um, in your own chart, then that's wonderful. They also need to watch what they eat, especially saturated foods, because they have a tendency to bloat. To The body tends to retain water, so they can be swelling of body, gout. They could have rheumatoid arthritis, in which the knuckles tend to swell up a bit. So they need to be a little careful about the kind of foods that they consume, and especially, like I said, saturated foods are to be avoided, as is salt, to avoid the water retention in the body. The next house we have is the Capricorn moon, and the Capricorn moon is I would say, even as a child, even they have quite a tough child, again till the age of 30. They are normally brought up not with a lot of money. They are normally at times, or even if the parents have money, they won't give them money. They literally, um, they are brought up with a lot of frugality and a lot of discipline, and at times, even not always, but they can be a big religious impact as well at home. That you're being made to pray, or very, very strict about the prayer timings, and going here and going there, and following a specific religious ritual. The Capricornian moon child, since he or she, I would say, almost is punished for wanting money, or wanting anything that comforts them, especially material, and they are taught to be frugal, they're disciplined. So this Capricornian moon grows up also with that kind of a energy, or that kind of a conditioning in them, wherein that some of them tend to get quite disciplinarian as parents. However, I would like to mention, in the Capricornian child, it's a father energy, though it can be a mother as well, who could be almost very could not be nurturing at all, is a big disciplinarian, or has no emotional attachment at all to the child. So in that case, it could be a Capricornian mother as well. But usually, it defines the Capricornian father in the life. So it can be that they have explosive emotions, because they are not allowed to emote. They are brought up in such strict environment that emotion is bad. Any kind of excesses are bad. Too much of food you can't have too much of ice cream, which of course we can debate it's good or bad. But as a child, they are denied a lot. They they bring themselves up. But and this is also Capricornian moon also at times, it's almost uh, that they could be homeless at some point of time, or literally be living on the street. um, However, later in life they do have money, and they hold on to money very tightly because they've learned these lessons very hard, and they tend to if they are not a lot of emotional wounds, they tend to be wonderful parents, wonderful partners. But if the emotional wounds are there, and if they've not managed to sort out what happened to them in the first 30 years, then there are chances of the Capricornian moon making their children, making their partners go through the similar experiences that they had as a child. So they will be very strict with the parents. They will keep reminding them of the lessons that save money, I will not give you money. Not to say they're not good providers, they make excellent parents. But even with the partners, they could be putting them in the similar situation, that being tight fisted. This moon again moves in extremes. So if it is someone, if you're someone who's been born in great wealth and you have a Capricornian moon, it's almost as if that you were not given the money easily. Each penny was accounted for. You had to like really um, you were either really humiliated, or you were very controlled as far as money is concerned, and you literally had to weasel your way in to get the money out. So the Capricornian moon needs to be careful about this cynicism. It needs to be careful about the bitterness, so that it doesn't get passed off again. And they really get frustrated with people because they get misunderstood a lot. They all they want is love. All they want to do is they need that nurturance which they did not get in their childhood. But again, um, the piece of the puzzle is they themselves, that they need to be releasing control. They need to be letting go of the control of trying to manage everybody's life around them, whether it's for good or for bad, it doesn't matter. And they are loyal to a fault. They will, if they're in love with you, the relationship can be really toxic, and they'll stay. They'll remind themselves of the bad childhood that they had and think that, oh, that was such a bad time, this is still better, let me be here. Unless and until that they themselves feel that I cannot be dealing with this anymore, then they will go. But a Capricornian moon is loyal to a fault, but they need to, and this can also add more trauma in their life, but they really need to release and let go of their own experiences, and release and let go of the control over the lives of people whom they love. And that is a time where that is where the switch for them will happen, that they can and it's something that they can overcome. The relationships will change, um, the entire living situation will change. And I think emotionally also, because moon is something, it's an energy that we ingest. And money also, it can buy us things, it can buy us food, it can buy us a house to live in, it can, but if everything is toxic around us, eventually we are absorbing it in some form of another. So that is something that the moment they release control, it's the time where they are at peace. Things start not just moving for them. I think they are just more at peace with themselves and at the world. And the next is the Aquarius moon. It's somebody who's aloof, somebody who's detached, somebody who does not want to be involved in the emotional drama. In fact, even if there is a lot of drama that's happening around in their own house, in their own lives, they will choose to walk away from it. They want to see change happening. Aquarius, even though the Aquarian moon energy is all about movement, they like things not just change, but they like radical change. So they are very happy if they are amongst people who are constantly talking about progress, who are talking about improvements, who are talking about newer things. The Aquarius moon is quite wired to move forward. They do not like relationships in which there is a lot of possessiveness, there's a lot of jealousy, there's almost a lot of material transactional emotion as well, wherein that there's a constant thing of I've earned so much, you've earned. I mean, it doesn't even bother them. An Aquarius moon is not interested in the material wealth of it. Also because We have the Uranian energy over there, and Uranus and Moon are, Uranus is all about imagination, and the Moon goes to the deeper depths of our intuition and of our mind. But like the Sagittarius Moon, the Aquarius Moon also cannot do a 9 to 5. They want to do a variety of things. They want to explore new things. They love innovation. They love new technology. They love complex technology. In fact, some of the finest computer coders, computer programmers, I suspect they would have a Aquarius moon in them. Even cryptocurrency or its Bitcoin, any of these technologies are they are a very Uranian energy. Now the Aquarius moon is since they are very emotionally detached, it's very hard for them to have really deep relationships. It's not that they do not love the people that they are, but it's almost like a platonic relationship. They make great friends. They can be married to you, yet it'll be like you're living with your buddy, you're living with your friend. They will not get into any messy emotional dramas, that are there. They feel there is so much out there in the world that needs to get done, that needs to get explored, that need to get done. Also, they are like they can tend to be quite claustrophobic. They do not like to be confined in, even emotionally, in places, in situations where not can they just think broadly, but I think even express themselves broadly. Aquarius moon people also make great politicians. They are able to see both sides of the situation. Also, more than that, I think because they're all about change, they're about radical change. They can bring about that change while working in politics and within the government, within the system, so to speak. They are super eccentric, to say the least. Can they can be with you forever, and yet you'll have a sense that you do not know them well enough. They make great friends. They make great companions. Romance is little low on their radar, as is family. They give a lot of priority to knowledge, to learning, to movement, to change, and for them, control is something which is really toxic. I think this is one thing which the Aquarius moon understands very well. Uh, they do not not only appreciate, but they absolutely are disgusted by power plays. They, in fact, you'll find some of the brightest minds, if they are in a place, or if they do go and join the government in a place of a higher authority, very soon they'll run away from it the moment that they see power plays or people trying to, play dirty politics or trying to, use their power to do something wrong. So at times there will be a lot of bureaucrats or people who are very intelligent, have an Aquarius moon, can bring about wonderful change, but they'll stay away from the government, rather really being in the thick of things which may involve a lot of like I said, not just um, dirty politics, but also it can involve a lot of power play, a lot of control issues, and that is something that the Aquarius moon is absolutely against. They really believe in live and let live. They need to be, they can at times get so lost in their own thoughts that they can almost be, they may not feel grounded. They need to be working more on the root chakra. They also need to be amongst more earth energies, as much as they may get frustrated with them, but the earth energies tend to ground them more. Also for them, they need to be working out. They need to be, and by working out, it, I'm not speaking about gyms. It could just be doing gardening, being more in touch with the earth, being growing something with the in the nature, touching the soil, um, being one with the nature is something which is wonderfully healing for the Aquarius moon. The last we have is the Pisces moon, and Pisces is over here. The moon is quite neutral. It doesn't have pressure of the Scorpio, neither is it exalted as in Taurus, but it's quite it flows quite well over here. It Pisces has no expectation. The Pisces moon lets it be. It makes no demands on it. However, the Pisces moon can be aloof at times. They can almost be detached, almost be operating in another realm, wherein that you may find Pisces moon people to be quite secretive, that they're not willing to share as to what is it that is going on in their mind. Uh, these people also who have a Pisces moon tend to be very psychic. In fact, a lot of therapists, a lot of hypnotists tend to have a Pisces moon in them. They are also they also tend to require a lot of solitude because they understand their own energy reserves tend to run out quite fast. In fact, they go through these phases of having this great energy, and then it's absolutely depleted, and they just need to conserve or reserve or really be in a state where they're not using any energy and not. So solitude is wonderful for them. They're also deeply connected to their own morality, so they live life to the fullest. Pisces moon really knows how to live. They each day they honor it, they treasure it. They know as to what truly life is, what a gift life is. Maybe for some of them, while they were growing up, they've experienced death. Maybe they've seen people around them in the family. Maybe they've seen a death that left a big imprint on their minds. Also, deeply involved in their own fantasy world. In fact, reading fantasy novels or gaming is something what the Pisces moon tends to do a lot. They can at times relate, they can at times struggle to relate to people, communicate with them exactly what is it that's going on with them. And they are strangely quite okay in chaos. They can be an absolute chaos happening around a Pisces moon, and they'll be operating in their own separate, they'll be tuned out, they'll be in their own world, they'll be, being flowing, fluid, quite all right with it, which also at times is not a good thing because they need to be more deeply connected, and it doesn't have to do with emotions but be more grounded with the reality around them. They can at times, in fact, get quite lost in their own world and lose a sense of reality. In fact, people with a Pisces moon can suffer from schizophrenia, can suffer from bipolarity, because they can literally live in another world, a parallel world, which we say is not the real world. They Since the emotions are quite heavy, whether not to say that crying is wonderful for them, but in a way that they can sweat out or expend that energy, it's wonderful that they do some kind of a workout. That is a, if not that, they need to be emoting well. They need to be talking about their emotions, which will really lighten up the load for them emotionally. And we've reached the end of our moon cycle. I do hope that you have enjoyed and I've been able to give you some more insight into the moon in the different zodiacs. It's important to see besides the sun as to how it is that, or where it is that moon is for us in our natal charts. It completely changes the story. Of course, it's important to keep in mind if there are any other planets that are aspecting in that specific house as well, because that too adds to the story. Astrology is far more complex. We cannot just look at our horoscopes purely by the sun sign, or even just looking at the moon on the surface and saying, oh, this is moon in the fourth house, I know what this means, or sun in the first. There are layers and layers and layers to it. I do hope that you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed it. Do remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. It will allow me to create more work for you. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I'll see you again soon, and thank you so much for watching.